worried about the periprosthetic joint infection. So because the gradual increase in the elderly population, we are seeing more of osteoarthritis, and thus leading to more and more of the joint replacement. And that's the reason why we also, as the joint replacement increases, so we get more of these infections. So there was this publication by Dr. Tube and the team in 2020, who did a 2-year follow-up study, and then they published this paper where they told that the prevalence of the hip and knee periprosthetic infection the prevalence has increased gradually. So when we are talking of the relevance of the PJI, so it is important because it is challenging in the sense, despite multiple available laboratory investigations, both for the serum as well as the synovial fluid analysis, still it becomes a challenge to diagnose the thing. Other thing is the clinical symptoms are not always characteristic, such as in case of the chronic phase, and also when the significant overlap of symptoms is there with non-infectious forms, such as that non-aseptic form of the periprosthetic involvement. Other very relevant thing is, though the imaging, we have a lot of gamut of imaging, but still among the various defined criterias, the imaging rule has not been clearly defined into the aspect of the diagnosis of the PJI. So what all things will be needed, or how can we use the diagnostic imaging part in the final diagnosis of a periprosthetic joint infection, and that I will show you by some examples. So I know everyone must be knowing this guy. So when, like suppose a patient comes to the orthopedician and they know by clinical examination and they suspect that there is a PJI, but still we need to have that lady luck to be confirmed that, okay, so these are the signs where we can definitely say that this is the PJI, whether it is the imaging aspect or the serum serology or the synovial biopsy correlation. So Dr. Javed and the team, they published this article in 2018 where they gave the criteria for the Musculoskeletal Infection Society regarding the major and minor criterias for PJI. So I am sure after one talk there is a talk where there will be more of detailed description of these criterias. So I am not going deep into it. So when we come to the imaging, so we have radiograph, which is the basic imaging modality, and it is actually indispensable even today in the day of CT and MRI. Ultrasound can be used very smartly, though it has not been defined as a imaging criteria, but we in our clinical practice do use it very often, and it is very useful. CT and MRI, as everyone knows, the metal reduction protocol helps a lot in talking about the periprosthetic bone and as well as the synovium. Sometimes we use the nuclear medicine, the bone scan, to come to a conclusion whether there is any involvement of the bone or not. And the diagnostic like ultrasound and CT guided intervention definitely gives us a final diagnosis of what type of organism are growing in the joint. So this is an example where you can see there is lucency around the joint in the greater trochanteric region. The radiograph very nicely shows it, but when we do a metal reduction CT, we can see not only this area in the greater trochanter, but there is also as well as the lesser trochanteric area. All around the prosthesis there is this lucency, and this is an infection of the perijoint bone. Another modality in radiograph which we can use is the sinogram. If there is a discharging sinus, we can inject the contrast and take the images in the radiograph to see the extent of the sinus. As we see here, it is extending till the bone here, and then it is also involving the soft tissue. So I was talking of ultrasound. So this is an ultrasound of the hip in the anterior joint aspect, where you see this black area is the synovium, which is probably like this synovitis. And in ultrasound also, in the same sitting, you can put a needle and take the fluid out, and you can send for examination. So MRI, as we know, as the hardware and software has evolved gradually, we are getting better and better images even in the prosthetic joint. So in this example, what you see on the left side, so this is all the suppression is not sufficient, like the fat is not properly suppressed because of this metal artifact, and we may call this as all infection. But if a proper protocol was done, you see there is suppression of this signal, that high bright signal which was seen. So actually this muscle involvement was not there, it is just a periprosthetic bone which was involved. This is an example where you can see in the radiograph there is lucency around the metal, and from the radiograph you can say that okay, definitely there is some periprosthetic loosening going on. MR was done which shows this lucency where there is this infection, as well as there is synovial proliferation. So ultrasound was also done initially to see whether there can be aspiration done or not. There was not much of fluid which could be aspirated. So, but MR definitely told it to be a periprosthetic infection. This is an example where you can see there is malalignment of the implant, and there is also some lucency, as you can see in a larger image. So there is the periprosthetic implant loosening which is happening. We did an ultrasound which showed the anterior suprapatellar recess, there is fluid, and there is also the thickening of the synovium. This brighter area which you see is a proliferated synovium. So biopsy was done, and this turned out to be a infection. This is another example where on the left knee you can see the alignment of the implant appears to be like definitely malaligned than compared to the right side. And there is also some soft tissue which is around it. So it thought of as synovial proliferation, synovitis which is happening. Ultrasound was done, and this is the quadriceps tendon. Below this what you see is all the proliferated synovium. This is multiseptation, and also we put a Doppler. So Doppler helps us to like differentiate whether there is inflammation going on within the synovium or not. This sometimes become difficult when we do an ultrasound of a like early post-operative case, where the organized synovium, non-infective, may also look similar. But in that case, what happens, the Doppler activity is not there. So this is one of the indication where we can say that definitely there is some infection which is going on. We can aspirate and then come to a diagnosis. In such cases, many times CT and MR may not be needed. This is a case where frankly you can see there is periprosthetic signal alteration in the femur as well as in the tibia, and there is also malalignment of the tibial implant, and this is a frank case of periprosthetic joint infection. So this patient came with the swelling of the joint after the surgery, like couple of months, and we did an ultrasound where we can see there is a large collection which is looking very complex. So there is not only fluid, but there is also proliferation of the soft tissue. The underlying bone we could not assess properly on the ultrasound, so we did an MRI and we saw that this collection was there, and the underlying bone there was some irregularity. There was a confusion because the MRI in the other sequences did not show any periprosthetic altered marrow to see it as an infection. But post-operatively you can see there is like a lot of infection which is happening within the bone. This is an interesting case where again the patient came with the swelling. We did the MRI. Ultrasound definitely showed there was this collections within the joint, and here you see we did a contrast also, and there was a peripheral thick enhancement. We thought of infection, but this turned out to be a aseptic collection within the joint.
Can you go through your slides faster and please? Already time.
So last case. So this is a case interestingly where we could see there is some fluid collection which was seen in the medial aspect of the joint. We thought it to be a medial collateral ligament bursitis by the friction of the implant. But a radiograph was done and it showed there is some lucency around the joint. So it was again an infection. So in short, the diagnostic algorithm for the PJI is the clinical suspicion and the positive laboratory markers. We should definitely do a radiograph. We should see for periprosthetic lucency, and if we see any collection in the ultrasound, we should try to aspirate and send for microbiology. If not, then we can think of CT and MRI depending upon the case. So the takeaway point from this is, like, as a team, the orthopedician and the radiologist should discuss the case. They can like think what is going on, and together we should try to save the goal rather than like running in the opposite direction. Thank you.